Hello, everyone. I wanted to share a theme that I see coming up this week in talking to quite a few people. It's been a very busy week. Fear is certainly starting to rise here, and a lot of people seem to be tapping into their relationship with money this week. There's a lot of fear and anxiety about how much money I have, lack of money that I may have, or fear of lack of what may come in the future. And there is some justification of that for what we're seeing, right? It's like I keep getting that song in my head of like money, money, money. It's just flowing everywhere. And the question is, where is that coming from? And one possibility is we're simply printing it. And because it doesn't matter. And another possibility is we're simply using all the reserves that we have so that we are in a tight spot in the future. Because when we reach that point of desperation or pure lack, we can be easily manipulated and controlled, right? Because we feel we don't have enough. We feel we aren't good enough. And if you really dig down deep into the root of our relationship with money, you'll see that so many of us have attached our value, our worth to how much money we have. And that is such a lie. It's such a lie. It's part of the system that we have become wrapped up in. Your salary, your income, the savings that you have no relationship to how valuable you are as an individual. Your value comes from the energy that you give to the world, right? And when we look at what's going to happen money wise, there's a lot of possibilities. Last year I went through a really deep release around money to prepare for this year. So I know how difficult it is for those of you who are stepping into that right now. Trust me, I know. But when I ask, my higher self, where are we headed with all this? What are we supposed to learn from all this? It's a resounding, resounding common theme of this is the time for humanity to step out of this system of money, because the system of money is what has been enslaving us for so long. Think about how many decisions you make in your life where money is the deciding factor, especially for those of us who are parents right now. We've had to make some really difficult decisions heading into September. And truly ask yourself, where did money fall in the priority of making those decisions? Because so often it is money that we use as our primary decision maker rather than our happiness, the health and well-being of our children, the desire to have fulfilling lives. Those priorities are often much lower than money because we have been fooled into believing that money is the only way for us to survive, that money is the way that we demonstrate our value in the world, that money is the way that we find fulfillment and happiness. It's not. Human beings have been surviving on the planet for millennia without money. When we first got here, we weren't necessarily using money to survive. We were using our skills and our connection with the land. We were using our relationships to share and trade and barter and do all of those things. Now, is the system going to fall overnight? Probably not in entirety, but I am hearing that for those of us who are really struggling with our attachment to money, for those of us who are really, really fighting the need to have it, the fear of not having it, that this may be a really difficult lesson in the physical sense of perhaps losing some money. And so I've been advising a lot of my clients to really look at our relationship with money right now, because the more that we can release now, the better off we may be in the long term, because we want to reach a place where the money doesn't matter. And yes, I'm not saying that we don't need money in the world as it exists right now. So yes, you do need money for food and your mortgage and your rent and all of those things. I'm not denying that. This is not some high in the sky type idea, but I am saying that if we can start to release it a little bit, then the lesson won't be so hard when it hits us. And if you're struggling with it, talk to any small business owner right now, because most of them went through that in March and April, and have gotten to a place of acceptance, of seeing how the money system actually is working, of seeing how we can survive with less, and still be happy and still be content and still have our needs met. So there is a huge wave of humans in your local community who have gone through this already. So if this is coming up for you now, please connect with them, because they can appreciate the emotions and the fear that you are going through at this time. And it doesn't mean that they're completely free of it. They're still working through it as well. So when we look at the money, we look at the energy of money, right? We often think of, there's a lot of talk right now of converting your money to gold, that we should be moving to a gold-backed system because there's an essence behind that. Right now, our money is backed by energy. It's a currency. It's an energy that moves back and forth. And that energy that it is backed of is your energy. So guess what? You can use your energy as money already. So yes, you convert your energy into money by working, by creating things, by selling things, by offering services. And you can just skip that middle step, right? And start to connect with people where you offer your energy directly as a form of exchange, as a form of compensation, and start to do the same with others, of connect with them and accept their offering of energy as currency as well, because ultimately it is our energy that is backing our money system right now, right? But the trick is that they don't want us to know that, because then they get to harness our energy. Well, we don't have to do that. We're the ones who are creating it. We're the ones who own it. We're the ones who get to decide how to spend it, how to share it, how to offer it in the world. And it's incredibly powerful when we start to tune into that. So for those of you who are struggling with job situations, or you're fearful that your job situation might change, this is the time to dig in deep in that and ask yourself, do I need it? Do I need to have a full-time income? Do I need to have the income that I'm making now? If I don't have that, how else could I use my energy to generate resources that I need? Because we all have gifts that we don't think about. We all have these gifts that we have been told are unworthy, right? There are people who know how to sew. There are people who in their spare time like to go foraging in the forest. There are people in their spare time who like to build things. There are people who have incredibly healing gifts that they have been unwilling or just scared to offer or share with the world up until now. But those all have value. They have value, especially as the world as we know it and the systems as we know it start to fall apart or crumble, or even just our international trade might become weakened. We need to find those skill sets locally. And so if you have one, this is the time to start to take some of the energy that you would have normally been putting into the system and put into building your own abundance, resource storage of energy. Create some of those things. Start to share those gifts that you have with your neighbors, with your friends, to show and get that energy moving in a different direction. And even if you feel you have nothing to offer, you always do, because there's also this really beautiful thing of using your energy to create love, to create joy and happiness and support on the planet. So even if you're not funneling your energy into something that would create some kind of commercial or physical good, know that there is also this stream of using your energy to create energetic wealth as well. So if you are, turning away from maybe working so much, for example, whether by your own will or forced, you can take some of that energy that would have been funneled into that job and funnel it into your family, funnel it into your friends. And you know what that does? That lifts them up. And as you lift others up, you get lifted up. And as our energy rises on the planet, so does our ability to get out of these systems. So does our ability to see things clearly, to see things from a bigger perspective, so that we can find these more fulfilling, more rewarding solutions to the problems that we're facing. So no matter where you feel there is a lack, it is simply a turning away from, a disengaging from the old system. So take that feeling of lack, take that anxiety and point it towards a different direction of where can I take this energy that I would be using to fill my worry, for example, of lack, and how can I take that energy and repoint it in a direction of where I could create something. Because if I am creating, I am contributing. If I am creating, I am generating. If I am creating, I am giving and I am receiving. Now, if you are really struggling with the fear and the anxiety right now, there's one other thing that I would like to offer you, and that is play it out. If you are having trouble sitting with it, if you're staying awake at night because you're worrying about your bank account, if your whole day is consumed with worry about it, the more that you avoid it, the more that you're just going to feed the anxiety. So actually sit down, take an hour, whether it's alone or with a partner, and look at your budget, look at your books, look at the numbers, face that reality, and play out the different scenarios. Let's imagine we have no income source. We only have this amount that's in our bank account now, maybe less. What would we do with that? Where would we prioritize how we are spending? Where would we cut back on things? How could we generate some income? What are some things that we can do with the skills or the resources that we have? What friends and neighbors could we trade with? And start to build those relationships now. Know what your friends and your neighbors can do. Know what your friends and neighbors can trade and offer, and complement that. So if they have a really abundant garden, but there's a need for water, then maybe you stock up on the water, and look at how as a community you can come together to support one another. And then play out those other scenarios too. Look at maybe we keep our jobs, but we receive a cut in pay, or our hours are reduced. If we're working with that amount of income, what would we do? And I want you to actually play out the scenario, because sometimes the fear of the unknown is greater than the fear of the actual reality of that. And when we can sit back and say, okay, if this happens, this is our plan. What happens is we come to a place of calm, because now we have a plan. Now we know what we can do. And most importantly, we know that we can survive, right? Because we're coming back to this fear of not being able to survive, of not being safe. So even if the worst thing happens, this is what our plan will be. This is the direction that we'll take. And that will help to lessen some of the anxiety. And then secondly, it's really, really important right now to find strategies to pull yourself out of the fear, to pull yourself out of the anger, the frustration, the worry as quickly as possible. And whatever that is for you is fine. If you meditate and do yoga, awesome. If you cannot do that, you do not like it, that's fine. Listen to some music, create a playlist that's just going to make you want to dance. Find a movie that just always makes you laugh. Go for a walk outside. Go chop wood if you have to. Go chuck stones into the water. Whatever it is that's going to pull you out of that darker state. Because when our energy drops into that negative state, we don't think clearly. We become consumed by the fear. And you know what else? That energy that is our currency is stolen. And it is given back to a system that is not serving us. So one of the best ways to protect your investment, to protect your energy, is to know how to stay in this higher state and to move there as quickly and effectively as you can, and to have friends and family members who can help you move there when you do drop out, when you do fall out of it. So please, if you haven't done it yet, find those things this week. Go for that walk, lay on the ground, get a playlist going, whatever you have to do, find it this week, please. And really do that deep inner work of looking at what is my relationship with money. Because every one of us that slowly pulls out of the system, just little bit, by removing our emotional attachment to it, is going to help us move in the positive direction that we need to go in. Because you are a beautiful, valuable being regardless of how much money you have or how much money you make. The money is a tool, and we've allowed it to become more than that. It is just a tool, okay? We are the energy that backs it. And so your energy is the most important resource to protect, to grow, and to cultivate. If you'd like to join me in doing some of this work every Tuesday night, 6:30, doing an online meditation, light runner meditation, to support you in cultivating your energy. It is free to join, or you can offer a donation if you like, but it's not required. If you sign up and you're unable to attend, I will send you the recording as well, so you can watch at a time that works for you. So you can find that on my website, soulinstitute.ca. Have a beautiful weekend. Stay strong. Have some fun. Create some joy, create some of that essence that's going to bring you more value.